Now, I'm actually quite happy that I don't play the markets, so I don't need to grovel. I don't need to suddenly feel so good today the stock market is up or the stock market is down. So I just find it very irritating in a world of supposed independence, of grown-ups at the table, when we're confronting truly existential issues of climate change and so on. I'm just irritated that this kind of spectacle continues to go on.
What can you do as a businessman? Because the real world and tariffs are going to affect your business, are they not?
Well, they'll affect our business in the short term.
Yeah.
But I truly believe, and I've said this to you, that I think if you're a student of history at all, you'll see that things gradually happen and they don't seem to happen, and suddenly, all of a sudden, something happens. And what I think the U.S. is going through now, what the world is going through now, it was already beginning to happen, and I've coined a phrase that I think it's basically the end of Pax Americana and the beginning of Fortress Americana. And you've seen, 80 over years since 1945 of the U.S. being a very benign and benevolent hegemon over the world, and I emphasize benign and benevolent. Everybody benefited as a result of that. You've also seen Afghanistan. And a lot of historians have written about how all empires, from the Persian Empire to Ottoman Empire to British Empire, all empires start to unravel when the people at the heart of the empire no longer want to fight for the corners of the empire. And that's Afghanistan.
Okay.
So if you look at what was beginning to happen to America's position in the world after Afghanistan, Ukraine was the best thing that America could have, suddenly showing that it was now a great defender of the free world. But right after Afghanistan, what did people think about America as a defender of the free world? So what's happening now is just an acceleration of the realization that Pax America isn't going to work anymore. So you pivot now to Fortress America and you make a big deal about it, but you're actually coming back into yourself, but you're making a virtue out of no longer being able to be an empire anymore.
Okay, a very inglorious retreat after more than 20 years in Afghanistan. You talked about that. Does it mean then, do you think, that the U.S. is going to end up abandoning Ukraine, and probably more importantly for our part of the world, Taiwan?
The short answer is yes, but the longer answer is I think we're going back to the future. I mean, I think people have to realize that it's only been about 200-300 years where one single civilization dominated the whole world. And for good, I have to emphasize again, although I'm anti-imperialist, anti-colonialist, that whole period of European or Western hegemony or colonialism was, in many ways, for the betterment of the world. In many ways, not so, but it's a fact. But if you're looking at back to the future, to the 19th century, 18th century, you had Western civilization. Then you had Islamic civilization. You had East Asian civilization on their own. You had civilization, not just superpowers, but you had entire civilizations with their own values, not just Western values, but their own unique values that people would say nowadays are not Western values. They were all coexisting with each other. I think we're going clearly back to that future. And you're not ever going to see a China going to say, we will play by the rules of America. That day has long gone.